Crucifixion and burial. There are two places in Jerusalem where it is thought that Jesus was crucified and buried. One, you go down the Via Dolorosa to the Church of the Holy Sepulchre, which at that point in history was outside the city wall. And it's true that it was a place where people were crucified and stoned and various things like that. And there were many first century graves there. The other place is Gordon's tomb, or today called the Garden Tomb. I like to hold that that is the place. One thing that is interesting is that it has the place of the skull there. You can actually see it. Mount Moriah went in that direction. And through the centuries, they had a huge rock quarry right there, which left a rock face that looks like a skull. Whether it's the place or not, no one really knows. When we talk about crucifixion, we have a thing in our mind. We see a smooth-made cross high up in the air on top of a hill. In actuality, it wasn't that at all. It was a short cross, just two pieces of wood put together. And the body hung with the feet almost touching the ground. The person was eye level. The purpose of crucifixion was to deter crime. Oh, and throughout history, it was probably the most effective. They literally would crucify people. They would have them lined up down the road. So as you walk by, you'd see these people, and literally eyeball to eyeball, see these people groaning and moaning, and they would be there for days. It is not a pretty sight at all. The person hung there, totally naked, covered with blood. So consequently, insects would come and they just cover the body. There's no way the person could fight against them. Actually, vultures would be circling around, waiting, and sometimes not waiting, would come down and start to eat the person's flesh. Dogs could come up. Since the feet were really close to the ground, they would come up, and there was no way to stop that. In one record, it says that a wild bear came up and attacked the body that was there. They would leave a person on the cross for days. That's why they would give them water, basically to keep them alive, to prolong the suffering, the groaning, and the agony. After the person died, they were left there. They would allow the body to rot, because after all, the main purpose was not just to execute the person, but to deter crime. So a rotting body was just about as good. Well, Joseph went to request the body from Pilate. Now, there was a reason for that, because generally speaking, people who were crucified were not buried. It was a curse to be on a cross. Family would not even want to bury the body. And generally speaking, they would just take it and throw the body onto a trash heap. You would think that the religious leaders would insist upon that. But they were actually happy that Joseph would do this, because if the body of Jesus was on a trash heap, then the disciples could come and steal it away. It would be much more easy. But with it being in a tomb, they could put guards there and guard that body so it could not be stolen. Joseph and Nicodemus. The question comes up, did they actually handle the body of Jesus? If they had, then they would be unclean for 7 days. And Passover was right there. The annual event was just right there. So the question is, did they personally want to handle this and be unclean for 7 days? Or since they were wealthy men, did they just hire people to actually be the hands that would wrap the body of Jesus, and they would simply oversee it? No one knows. Well, come back when we give you more Story Insights.